solar eclipse is tomorrow, and that's April 8th of 2024. And I think that a lot of people are fearful of this event because of either the news, social media, all kinds of things that are just kind of bouncing off this fear off of you. It's feeding off of that fear almost. And I had this thought that came to mind, and hopefully it kind of changes your perspective on things. And it's a little tangential, but it has to do with the sun. The sun's light in particular, takes 8 minutes from the sun for the photon to reach Earth. That's 8 minutes that we can measure. But science now dictates that the photon itself probably experiences that distance between the sun to the Earth instantaneously. It's just at the sun, and then it's on the planet. And that made me think that maybe all we are is just light experiencing time. And it's kind of like that Pink Floyd album where you see the light going in through one, it goes through the prism, and out comes a beautiful rainbow. And we are the rainbow. And the light is the source. You can think of it as God, you can think about it as the divine consciousness, whatever floats your boat. But it all comes down to the same, that we all come from something, either a Big Bang, which is also a giant explosion, which is also a giant light. You know, even if you're agnostic or atheist, it kind of works the same. That we came from some type of light source or some giant explosion, and now we are experiencing life in a 4D realm, which is X, Y, Z, and then time, which is only we can only experience linearly. And if you think about that, then everything that we experience is as much of importance as we allow it to be. There's a fun exercise that is that if you can hear the voice in your head, and the voice sounds like you, I would presume, then who is the one listening? You could flip it around and be like, well, if I'm here and there's a voice in my head that sounds like me, then who's the voice? And I think that if you dive down into that far enough, you might realize that actually, I am just the consciousness. I am just the awareness that this exists. And all we are is just light experiencing time, and therefore we are just the possibility of the vibrations, because light is neither a particle or a wave, it's both. We are just the waves collapsing down into a particle for that period of time. So whatever happens is kind of inconsequential, so much as you allow it to matter or not matter. And for that matter, that's all we are. Matter is just a collection of atoms that just so happen to collect and congeal at a certain vibration because they all gravitate towards one another, because they all vibrate at a certain like frequency. Solid states of matter vibrate lower, and higher states of matter, like liquid, gas, plasma, vibrate at higher frequencies. And thus there being more space in between. So, if you take that into consideration, then if like attracts like, then to the same effect, we can manipulate it to our own benefit or for the benefit of those around us. So if you vibrate at a higher frequency like love, appreciation, and gratitude, then things like that will gravitate towards you. To the same effect, if you're fearful, if you're scared all the time, if you're anxious, then things of that nature will gravitate towards you. And I'll give you a good example. Think of a room where it's neutral, everyone's just kind of doing their own thing, and then all of a sudden, the biggest Debbie Downer comes into the room. And just, it feels like that black cloud that is just behind them just sucks the life out of everyone in the room. and everyone is just now sad, anxious, angry, agitated, right? And that energy doesn't go anywhere. It's a black hole. It just sucks into that person who just came into the room, and then it goes nowhere. They're not happier, and no one else is happier for it either. That's a net negative. To the same effect, on the flip side, you know those people that are like just a radiant light within your life. And kind of emphasis on the light, right? They are closer to the source because they radiate light. And they come into the room and everyone is just laughing, having a good time. You can't tell me that that environment is not creating some type of net positive. They are essentially creating matter, things to happen in a positive way. And that radiant person, for sure, gravitates only radiant energy back to themselves. Not to say that bad things can't happen to those who radiate light or radiate love. They do happen, but they probably just have less impact on someone who has so much abundance. If you have, because we live in a capitalistic society, if you have $1 million, $1 billion, right? And then your roof caves in, then okay, you're down $30,000, but what does that matter if it's just a candle holding to a roaring flame, right? If you are the sun and someone holds a candle to you, well, it doesn't mean anything. But if you have nothing, if you feel like you have nothing, if you're a void, if you're a dark cloud with nothing in it, then $30,000 roof caving in can just completely topple you because you have nothing. But that's just it. You have everything if you allow yourself to have it. And if you believe that you have everything and everything that you need, then you'll realize that you need very little and you'll actually have a lot to give. And I think that that is kind of what the teachings of Jesus, Buddha, or most religious figures, honestly, is to radiate love. Because love is the highest frequency that you can have. And love in the ways that we believe in like Western society is completely wrong, where you think, I love my dog, I love my cat, I love my wife, I love my husband, I love my kids, I love my parents, right? But all that is, thanks to Vinland Saga, is discrimination, right? Think about how the sun might love. The sun doesn't care if you're a criminal, it doesn't care if you're evil, it doesn't care if you're good. It will shine its light on you no matter who you are or what you are. No matter what. It doesn't discriminate, it doesn't pick sides, it doesn't say that this person deserves light more than the other. It just does. So if we can come to that, and even using the biblical reference, even Jesus, dying on the cross, begs God, saying, Father, they do not know what they've done, asking for forgiveness for the people who straight up tortured and killed him. That is what love should look like. That you do not need to pass judgment, you do not need to pull the trigger, you just need to love, and that is enough. Think about it, and I'll catch you on the next one.